Power flows to the one who knows how. Desire alone is not enough. Freedom is the right of all sentient beings. Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost. Autobots, roll out! We cannot let the humans pay for our mistakes! Autobots! Now, reap the whirlwind! One shall stand, one shall fall.
Hi! Welcome to Thursday. Welcome to Thursday and our Thursday weekly stream. My name is Adam. We've got
Chris, product owner on Transformers.
and we've got Dan.
The man.
The man with the beard. The man with an amazing beard.
Beautiful beard.
I am just opening up our stream. Pablo is behind the scenes. Say hi, Pablo.
Hello.
Lovely. And soon we will be getting to it. So let's say some hellos first. By the way, Deborah is not here, as you can see. She is on holiday. She is in Canada. Fighting bears, something like that.
In the wilderness.
Yeah, some of these, like, this could not be true. She might not be fighting bears, but she's definitely in Canada. And let's say some hellos to people. We've got 1237. Hey to you. We've got Creep Lightning. Extra emeralds again. Not enough emeralds. We need more. Jeremy Taburin, hello to you. We've got
Prime time. Skywalk 7732.
Nice. Zornius. We've got Alak 190490. Rolls of your tongue. We've got Dirty Spot again. Welcome. We've got Scourge back. 10/24. We've got Hot Hori 75. Hello to you. So nice to see you joining us. Who do we have on other platforms? Do you have?
I only have Twitch.
Ooh, I'm not on Mob Crash. Should we get? Should we go there now? This is what Deborah does usually. I'm not Deborah, as you can see.
No doubt. I hope she brings us back downhill.
But here's my official welcome to everyone joining us on Facebook and Mob Crash. Lovely to have you guys. We've got a nice stream set for you today. And let me start by locating. There you go. Boom. So, on the agenda, we've got the first. Okay, let's start with the event. Our event is called Face to Face, and I am going to get it ready for you guys now. Do you remember what the event is? The format? Or should I go for it?
It's an individual totalizer.
Right. Why are we not logged in? There we go. Boom. Right. It's an individual. So basically, this is week 2. Week three.
The Quigston Saga. So this time round we have a totalizer, and I guess the twist on this one is you can get an exclusive Quigston avatar. And the nice thing about these avatars, like all the other avatars in the game, kind of how they work, they're sort of generated from the bot portraits that we usually have. So the art is specifically done to be a bot portrait, and then it gets repurposed into an avatar. With these ones, we actually ask the artist to make them as avatars, like from first time round. So as a result, they actually look kind of really cool when you see them in your avatar section. So they really stand out because they've got the nice unique background. I can't remember which Quinson face it is we've got.
We've got the death.
Is that death? That is death, isn't it? Yeah. So
does that mean there's more, Chris?
There could possibly be more. Like, how many faces does a Quinson have anyway?
Several.
Could be 5, I think. 5 from the 5 faces of darkness. So yeah, there's more to come.
Yeah, actually, the names of the faces.
There's 4 of them. They have 2 faces, don't they?
Some have 2 faces,
There's
but
Death, who's just Death.
I think they've got 5 faces.
Usually the judges have several, and they are the Death, Judgment, Rage, War, and Wisdom. And some of these names are kind of not interchanged, but some of these names are like double names. So depending on the universe, depending on where you are, it's a type of comic or whatever, they might have a slightly different name.
Yeah. They've got 5 faces but no legs, the quintessons.
That's the tentacles, right?
Well, they're sort of tentacly, like a glowing orb, like underneath them. I'm not sure quite how it works. Probably someone out there knows.
Magic.
Yeah.
I do know that, yes, I was a little lost at the beginning of the stream. Skyward points out, absolutely, like, there's a lot of stuff that Deborah does that I wasn't prepared to do. And Pablo set up this amazing timer, which meant I didn't have the time to like launch everything and prepare. But we are in it now. We are looking at the event face to face. Battle for survival. So we got Snarl and Hun-Gurrr successfully repelling the endless waves of Sharkticons last week, and now after narrowly avoiding that painful dismemberment and death, play on word, the capital D, like that. The odd duo appreciates each other a bit more, and they actually have some orders, which mean they need to go face to face. Now, Quintessa is not a place for friendship. Let's take a look at the format. So this is an individual event with 10,000 points to score on the totalizer, and the Death Avatar being the top prize. So starting over here, we've got some shards, more shards. We've got story reward after several battles. Then we've got more 2-star and 3-star shards, some energon. We've got Spark coming up, more and more Spark, 4-star shards, Shark Attack boost, so there we go, the return of the Sharkticons coming up the 2nd week in a row. And then we've got even more sharks, 4-star shards, Sparks, Shark, shards. That's basically the theme. And at the top, we've got the Death Avatar. Now, 10,000 points. For some of you, it's going to be a relaxing event. For some of you, it's going to be a big push. So depending on what kind of squads you're rolling.
It's important to note that the Avatar does not take away from the rewards.
Correct, yes.
In the avatar.
Yes, so we spoke to Hyra, and the way he set it up is he set up an event exactly like he would normally, and then added the Avatar on the top as an extra kind of stretch goal for those who are able to score enough points. Now, looking at the event structure itself, the battle zones rather, we've got zone 1 where Deb fights if she's not fighting bears in Canada. Then we've got zone 2, 30 points, and zone 3. So basically something that's not unusual to anyone who is familiar with these types of events. And again, this is an individual event. Nobody from your alliance will judge you. However, if you have a Death Avatar at the end of it, they might look keenly on you. Or
what usually happens with these things, you know, in a few months' time, people are going to be saying like, "How did you get that awesome Death Avatar?" And you know, you have to play the event.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
I think the value kind of increases with time, because as time goes on,
you'll never be able to get it again, right?
Not that just.
I would
never
say
never say never.
We have no plans to release these avatars to any other way at the moment. So yeah,
collector's item.
Yeah, they're going to be a bit of a limited edition collector's item. We thought it was a nice way, I guess, of if you play some of these events, and you know, to Adam's point, this one's probably designed as a slightly more relaxing event for a lot of people. It's just a way of saying, hey, I was there, I played. Check out my base, check out my avatar.
If there's any avatar you would like as a player to see in game, what would it be? That's a question for both of you.
Is that for me or is that for
it's for you and for the players as well. So I'm kind of curious. What's the?
I'd like to see Megatron's head, like the version of it that was on the Masterpiece toy, where it was all cracked. You know, after he's had the fight with Optimus Prime, like from the G1 movie, and he sort of turns around. I've waited an eternity for this. Like, I'd quite like to have that as an avatar.
And more like an upfront kind
just
of
like
mean Megatron just looking at you with a scarred face.
Yeah, battle-scarred Megatron. So, yeah, maybe that's something we can think about doing in the future.
That is really cool.
Maybe it's an avatar, maybe we can even change Megatron's face. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
People are mentioning Primus and Unicron being potential avatars. I think that's a good a good call as well. What about you?
Cybertron.
Okay, so people want to be planets. I want a planet representing me. In the meantime, I was doing a battle, deploying the Sharknado boost that doesn't exist in the game. It's only on the test environment. Don't freak out when you see 20 Sharkticons running around on my screen. But let's take a look at the avatar itself. So perhaps I will be able to equip it, because I think should have it unlocked already here. There we go. So unlike most avatars, which are kind of based on the board portraits and therefore kind of like 2/3 angled, the Death avatar is very much kind of up front and in your face, which is what makes it look really cool in some of the screens we have here. So hopefully, I won't see it when I. Let's see if I can see another place where it can show up. Yeah, if you're attacking someone with that avatar, it's really big here, so it looks really rich. But that's not gonna show up now. So I'll maybe try and find another place. I'll actually show you a couple. I think I'm in Alliance. I'll show you how it looks in other menus soon. In the meantime, I'll just do another of the Sharknado boosts over here because it's so much fun. I don't know why we haven't used it earlier on stream. I think we just were waiting for the return of the Sharkticons to kind of play around with it. But it's always cool to see so much Sharkticon frenzy everywhere. And we also have Laser Optimus here. Sorry, yeah, Laser Optimus, there we go. Throwing these discs. I love them.
Yeah.
I love them.
The Laser Optimus toy, the G2 toy. He sort of had like blue discs that he shot out the top of his trailer.
So would you say that this is quite faithful because we opted for the discs?
Yeah, I think it's faithful. I mean, obviously, like our Optimuses in the game don't have the trailers, and one thing I constantly annoy the team with is like, hey, when are we going to get Optimus's trailer into the game? But yeah, it hasn't happened yet. I don't know where he put his trailer when he transforms. Goes into subspace, I think.
Left it in the ship.
Yeah, yeah, goes into subspace.
Perhaps it is the ship.
Maybe.
Plot twist.
I'll try and find an alliance like on our test server. There we go. So I can see it as it looks with other players around.
Tonight.
Boom! Look at that. That is lovely.
Yeah, that does look nice. Does stand out.
Especially from number 1. Ha. Yeah, that's great. And so yeah, this is the first Quintesson to release, first avatar we're doing. We will see how you guys respond to it, and definitely this is something that with time will become more and more exclusive because we do not plan on releasing them more of the same avatar right now in the future. So 6 months from now, people who don't even remember that event will be able to kind of marvel at your unique avatar from the past. Okay, so that said, let's see. Do we have any questions? It's hard to keep track of everything.
After we have story mode and we need to show the box.
Ooh, okay. I'm being reminded of a time. I think we'll be fine. Don't worry. We'll just play the transmission first. So you're familiar with the concept behind.
I am familiar with this concept. Yeah.
It's an infamous one. Now I don't remember who takes part in this. Let's just agree that I'll do the first bolt, you'll do the second,
Good.
and you'll do the third.
Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Also the eye. What just happened, Soundwave? That flash almost burned out my optics.
Do I have to actually sound like Soundwave? That's going to be difficult.
Readings suggest a solar event log Megatron, but on the planet's surface.
Does that sound like Soundwave? Or are we still going?
Hold. Telemetry indicates an Autobot spark signature.
Sounds like I'm singing.
Oh. Snarl, got to be storing solar energy in his bag.
Get a message to Hun-Gurrr. Eliminate Snarl with extreme prejudice.
Looks like our lines of communication to Earth have been restored, Snarl, old buddy. I got new orders.
Oh, and what were the original orders? You can't be here on Quintessa. For some reason, I am. It makes no sense. So, what?
Classified. If I told you, I'd have to kill you. You know? You know what? I don't actually know what Hun-Gurrr sounds like.
And your new orders?
Oh, sure. No problem there. I just gotta kill you. Now, I don't actually know what Hun-Gurrr sounds like. He's only a character that I've ever really seen in the
I don't know what
comics.
Snarl
I've
sounds like.
seen him in the comics before, but not the G1 show. I think he might have appeared in some of the
Snarl-
later episodes, maybe.
I'm sure Snarl's not British.
Yeah.
One thing for sure is that Simon Furman is doing a really good job with some of these characters.
Yeah, it's a good story actually. This one, like I've read through to the final part, and it's good fun.
Yes, and of course,
I don't want to reveal too much, but
of course, and as we've seen earlier, ooh, I'm just getting lost here. There is more story available just 400 points in. So even if you're planning on resting this weekend, of course, it's double XP by the way that you can exploit. Yeah, even if you're planning to rest, just get that story reward. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it. And I love the part about like I cannot tell you what my orders were, but now I can because my new orders are to just kill you. It's just so brilliant. Simple but brilliant. I love that. And I love how Hun-Gurr's personality comes through from the event. I didn't know he was that kind of relaxed, rowdy guy.
Hun-Gurrr was an interesting character to create as well, because I think we took a bit of artistic liberty from the original G1 toy when we designed him. So I know the art team had fun, sort of like he's not maybe one of the best known characters, but visually he's really interesting. They really push like how he looks.
Yeah.
So you can see that in some of the artworks as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, some characters we kind of like, I guess, take the toy and use it almost as a one-to-one, whereas Hun-Gurrr, we push the boundaries a little bit.
We didn't have a good reference back then when we did Hun-Gurrr.
No, that's right, yeah.
It's
hard to find a good one.
Yeah. Speaking of Hun-Gurrr, Terracons are quite a lovely set of bots. What is your view on Terracons?
Yeah, they're crazy looking, right? Like, is it Ripper Snapper? Who's the one with the sort of giant kind of strange head?
Ripper Snapper is the one with like a shark.
Yeah, with a shark head.
on like there's. Imagine that like going against Snarl and then just like biting each other.
And then there's the Seacons as well, who are like even more crazy than the Terracons.
See, they're all like
Yeah.
water creatures.
Like, I don't know, do we have to implement like whole swimming pools, sort of see if we put them in the game? Like,
If we do that, can we get paddles in the game?
No. Paddles is never going in the game. We've talked about this. We agreed not to talk about this.
Alright, Primeland suggests that we put Blur first. Perhaps.
I'd love
perhaps.
to do Blur. I'd love to do Blur.
Mm.
I think he's definitely a character. Like, pretty much, you know, all the classic G1 lineup would be great to include at some point.
Now, people probably want me to click on that Snarl icon that is on my screen, and I will do that. So this week we'll see how Snarl and Hun-Gurrr look in the showroom, and we'll play with them next week, I think. Right, there we go, Snarl.
There's the final Dinobot.
Yes,
The final piece of the
it
puzzle.
is the final piece of the puzzle, and the best thing is that you could have seen Snarl in multiple screens, like loading screens.
Well,
and
here's the
artworks.
thing. We did Snarl quite a long time ago, and you know, we had this lovely loading screen made with all the beasts in it, and then, you know, we don't always release the bots in the order we make them for various reasons, and Snarl kind of like was in the loading screen, and we didn't include him for ages, and Hun-Gurrr was in there as well. So yeah.
Yeah, and I believe we like we spoke about Hun-Gurrr before, but we never said that he would actually be paired with Snarl. So a lot of people didn't expect Snarl to kind of come out when he is coming out. As we mentioned Hun-Gurrr earlier. Oh, there we go. He's got this lovely sword. I spent a lot of time doing that particle effect to make sure that he actually has some kind of fire swoop. Get it out again, come on, don't be shy. If he doesn't, I'll switch to...
Transform me back.
Okay. Rawr.
Nice. Yeah, he looks good. Just so...
There we go.
Yeah, nice and colourful as well.
Got the gold, got the red, and got the lovely silver grey.
Yeah.
Gunmetal grey almost.
Yeah, I love the Dinobot.
I wonder if we can ever add the baby Dinobots. Or is it something that only Michael Bay envisioned, and we will never cross over?
I don't think the Dinobots need to have babies. I mean, they're strong enough as a team of 5. I don't think they need paddles. I don't think they need babies.
I definitely disagree about paddles, but we'll keep that as an offline discussion.
Yeah.
Here we go, Hun-Gurrr. Hun-Gurrr in the showroom with 2 heads, just frantically kind of like looking around. I love the title animation. He's actually like, well, one head is looking one direction, the other is somewhere else.
We always like to challenge the animators and the art team, and you know, just as they think they've got everything sorted and they've animated all these, you know, animals for us, it's like, how about we do a dragon with 2 heads? And you can see them like, how are we going to do that? But there we go.
Yeah, I really had concerns when we brought some of the like, okay, so we need to do dinosaurs and they're gonna have to like jump around and stuff like that. And they were like, yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
we'll handle it.
The funny thing about Hun-Gurrr, I mean, like, he's kind of a crazy 2-headed dragon thing, but actually he looks like quite a like just normal, respectable bot. Like when he transforms, you know what I mean? He's not that.
Until you look at his shoes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the giveaway.
They are some slick shoes. Like, whoa, if you wore them into a nightclub or something like that, you would be.
You wouldn't get in. You wouldn't get in.
You would be in luck.
You would definitely get in.
Yeah, that's good.
There we go. I love the transformation back. I'm gonna see it again because he's like kind of like a dog, and it kind of fits with his personality. So he is this dragon, but he's like,
yeah, I just can't stop watching how his shoes become his head, if you know what I mean. Like, like that is a mad transformation. I mean, all of the transformations we do are pretty much bespoke. So every single time we do a character, that is a brand new animation specifically for that character. So. Yeah, it's always interesting. And I guess we've mentioned before on the stream, but all characters have actually a number of transformations. There's the transformation from bot to alt form, then there's actually a separate animation back, which, you know, you think would just be the same animation in reverse, but often it actually isn't. It's had further tweaks made to it. And then there's the battle transformation, which is much quicker, and a separate transformation again. So for every bot we're adding like 4 bespoke transformations, and that doesn't even include some of the things that are happening on battle, which, you know, often these guys have a new animation on battle if they've got a
and of course
or whatever.
And of course when we make combiners, we need to bend that code into completely different shapes and forms that we sometimes didn't foresee when we made the bot.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's extra challenging, but I think it's definitely worth it. We are not faking stuff, and yeah, we know these are not shoes; they're feet, but shoes is.
If the shoe fits.
If a shoe fits. It kind of looks like it. Right. Now, I'm kind of tempted to play with them, but I think I'll have to wait because we need to have something to show next week. I think Deborah's going to be back. No. Pablo shakes his head.
You have to wait 1 more week for your bear.
I do hope she brings something with her. So let's take some questions, right? Why does Hun-Gurrr have Snarl sword? Well, maybe he stole it. Or maybe he bought it from the same black market. There is some. The amount of time between combiners. The next one has to be Predaking. Predaking is cool.
Predaking is a cool combiner.
It is a cool combiner and a good suggestion.
Yeah.
Let's look at questions. Did you?
On the weapon front, like we do often make brand new weapons for bots. Like often, if there's a very signature weapon, we will try and include it in the game. We always have to be mindful of the amount of like space everything's taking up in terms of file size, load time, and everything else. So sometimes bots do share weapons, but we do often try and include like a signature weapon as well. Like obviously Star Sabers, you can see here has one.
He had a weapon and a shield. Difficult to animate because his hands are so busy. So a lot of animations actually do not fit him because he holds so much stuff. So when he's like pointing at things and then doing a lot of animations in the dialogues, it makes it extremely difficult. But he just looks so cool. The head sticking out is a little silly though, but I love it. Something we've been talking about is potentially. I'm not gonna spoil that because whenever I look at Strafe, I wish his wings flapped. This is on my dream list to make his wings flap. Same with Die Bomb. I do hope we get to it one day, sooner or later. We've got Slug, almost looks like Battles, and if you cover the bottom part of the screen, all the Dinobots look pretty swell, I think. There we go. And he actually shares one of the weapons that you could have seen kind of premiere with Octopunch and there we go, with Octopunch and Sea Spray. However, he has a different color version of that, the one that actually fits very well with his color palette, and he uses that to, of course, fire that lovely seismic charge at the enemy defenses. Now, I'm going to scour the chat to see some questions. In the meantime, you could do a battle if you wish.
Thank you.
Right.
I have a question regarding 5-star shards and rewards in an event from Ultra. I don't think he's on the stream.
Okay, fire away.
Basically, what is the chance of a 5-star shard event?
So this is a Hyro and Swandra question. However, I feel competent enough to say that the 5-star shards will make an appearance in the near future. I do not know if it's a week, 2, 3 weeks from now, but it's definitely something that we do plan on returning. Same goes to high XP events. Of course, Shaktigons had their time, so there's going to be quite a long time before we see Gnaw making an appearance again. So everything has some kind of cadence, and that cadence always can be modified depending on your feedback and your appetite for certain things. So that's the answer. Do you have more?
That's all I have.
Okay.
I do have another one, but you've answered it about the extra squad slots.
Yeah, I mean, certainly on the events, we're always looking to mix things up. So part of the reason for adding the avatars was to give the event a twist, and we're always looking at ways of making the events as interesting as possible and changing the format, whilst balancing that thing of doing something new and also providing some predictability as well.
I'm going to switch chairs.
Yes, that is a very noisy chair.
It is. I
Really
think we should
annoying.
just remove it from this
Building.
from this building through the window.
Just eject it.
Explosive removal. What days will I be at Hascon? Asks Jeremy Toburen. So Hascon is something we mentioned last week. Hascon is Hasbro's, I think, first family and fan event that is being held in September. I think September 8th. Over that weekend in Providence, Rhode Island. Maybe we'll just post a link, or you can just Google Hascon. I will be there with Pablo. That's the intention. We'll try and hopefully appear on the panel for Transformers, and we should be there throughout, or at least for the majority of the event or the main days. I don't know how many, if it's like 3 days or 2, but we'll try to cover as much as we can. And we invite all of you to come over and say hi and share your feedback in person. 3 days, says Pablo. All right.
Yeah, we'll be demoing some cool stuff out there.
Yes,
that you haven't seen before, so you can find out more.
That's the best. The best way to get an early play of some new exciting content would be at Hascon. Regarding game modes question that someone asked, before we handle an entire new game mode, we will have a big expansion in form of the feature that we call Power Cores. More on that available in the Ask the Matrix series that we've got Chris, we've got myself, and we've got Andrew answering your questions. And shedding more light on things like triple changers, combiners, and power cores themselves. So I'll probably, in order to save some people from repetition, just check that out on YouTube. Perhaps we can get a link to the playlist if Pablo is kind enough to provide it.
Yeah, that's going. I mean, we've been working on that pretty hard as a team recently. Like, we're at the point where, as a team, we're all sitting around playing feature, providing feedback, but we're pretty excited at the moment, but it's not quite ready yet. Like, there's lots of tweaking we're doing, balancing. Like, usually the way these things work, Adam's creating a set of levels, we all play them, give him some feedback, you then go back and make them again, and it's a long process. Like, we want to make sure it's just right before we release it, and that everyone has as much fun as possible, and it's balanced perfectly.
I second that. Today I spent the whole day addressing some of the internal feedback to make the whole campaign play better. We have a new campaign coming with Power Cores, something that Simon Furman wrote for us, and we kind of put together. It's fun, I think.
It is fun, yeah. I mean, it's going to provide a lot of new, interesting gameplay, a lot of new challenges, and a lot of new stuff to collect as well. So I think it's going to be a pretty exciting feature. I'm excited. It's not the only thing we're working on at the moment, so
Yeah.
there's lots of interesting stuff going on behind the scenes.
Juggling stuff.
So yeah, stay tuned and you'll see it all in the coming weeks.
Sunfreaker Wazza suggests, could we see the other team's attempts in wars so that they could see who attempted their bases and who hasn't? Or perhaps, would you like to see replays or just who... I suppose it's to get any replays.
Is it to see the attempts from the other side, like
because
how many goes they've got remaining?
I think that's
Might
what
be
he
that,
says.
yeah.
Yes, that's a suggestion. A replays of wars was another suggestion, to see our defensive replays in wars.
With the replays on the line, or the attempts on the alliances, we actually did it that way deliberately, and the thinking was it was more interesting to have like a bit of a fog of war thing going on, where you weren't quite sure what the other alliance were doing, but from your own alliance's perspective, it was like clear how many attempts that you had, so you knew like, hey, this guy's not pulling his weight, or oh, this guy's out now because he's run out of attempts. So that's why we implemented it that way around. I mean, you could argue it would be interesting to see the other side as well, but we did it that way around for a reason.
Yeah. As for the, what's your view on the replays of kind of defensive replays in a war?
So you can actually like show how your base is performing.
I suppose like some Autobots, because we have more Autobots than Decepticons in game, so it's not a mystery. Some Autobots don't get attacked as often as they would actually like, because their defenses, and this would potentially help them address their base designs if they had that in their log.
Yeah, I think it's pretty sound idea. I mean, I can't see any drawbacks with it. We just need to get the UI hooked up so you could do it.
I think the only downfall would be if your whole kind of log would be flooded with like 50 attempts because there's like 40 people fighting against your base.
Yeah.
And some of them do it several times. So that's the only downside I see. But perhaps we could just limit it to like one successful and one unsuccessful attempt or something like that.
See how it goes. I mean, like, I don't think there's a reason not to do that that I can think of. Like, certainly the reason why we haven't done something like that is purely just down to time. We haven't got round to it and done it, as opposed to a game design reason like the previous one I mentioned. So that sort of thing, we could certainly think about doing that.
Hot-Hori has a...
Hot-Hori has a good suggestion regarding additional sorting options for squads. Specifically adding toggles to sort them based on whether they need research or not. So to put that on the top of the list.
Yeah.
Class, name, or special ability level.
Yeah.
Special ability level is it's not really surfaced on that level of the bot. So that's a bit with an indicator of what the level is. What's your view on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's done right, it could be really, really good. So, for example, like a feature that I could see being really useful is you go to the research lab and you want to sort in the research lab and just see all the bots that need research right at the top of the list, basically, so that you know which ones you can take in. So you're not scrolling down that big list of bots. That would be really useful. I always want to balance, I suppose, when we're doing things in the game, the clarity of like the player experience. Like you can imagine a troop grid where we gave you 20 sourcing options and it suddenly all becomes a bit overwhelming except for an advanced player. So yeah, we always want to balance clarity of what we're presenting with options that make the game more useful as well. And over time, as players request things like, hey, I want to sort by star rating or power, we bring those things in. So yeah, I think that the research ones makes total sense.
Creepy Lighting asked if we would add an option to cancel an upgrade. I would say probably not, because this would allow you to kind of sync resources and kind of bank them into buildings and then cancel that, unless you would lose the resources or lose part of them, which would be a little unfriendly from the kind of user point of view. So once you commit to an upgrade, you commit to an upgrade. Banking would potentially completely destabilize our economy for some players. That's why we don't do that.
Yeah, it would become one of those things where we'd either have to bank it or give the transactional costs back, and then if you didn't have the storage anymore to store them, it could get messy quickly, and it could be one of those things you do where, I guess we'd say, like from a software development, game development point of view, there'd be a lot of edge cases with it where you'd end up with a lot of people that ended up with undesirable behaviour that came out of doing something like that they didn't expect or want. So yeah, that's why that isn't implemented in that way.
Yeah. What about option to kick alliance members when you visit their base? I suppose this is someone who just basically inspects people and goes, "Oh, not you, I mean, not in my place."
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
That's not very social, is it?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a bit much. Maybe that's a bit harsh. I mean, certainly maybe giving a thumbs up or thumbs down on the base could be cool. I don't know if we'd just boot them out. I mean, certainly, like, we do want to make the game also fun for, like, you know, casual players as well. Yeah. Like, and you know, key to having fun in Transformers is finding a good alliance. And you know, one of our ongoing concerns is like, how do we help players find a good alliance? Like, one thing we're looking at the moment behind the scenes is, you know, how can we improve our alliance search to provide better recommendations for alliances and things like that. So yeah, we want players to find a good alliance. We want them to stay there. Sure, like, alliance might not be right for you. Sometimes people might want to get booted, but we don't want to like necessarily encourage like booting of players on an excessive basis.
Once I eat my cookie. What about additional options for searching players or being able to search alliances even though you are a member of one? Because right now, once you join an alliance, it is not possible to search and browse other alliances. How do you feel about that?
I think there's no reason why a use case like that couldn't be done. I mean, I think there's probably, like, out of the suggestions we've had, maybe there's a few others I'll be keener to do first, but yeah, all of these things sound sensible to me. I mean, a lot of the time, some of these things they end up the way they are just because of like the way we've designed the UI, and then once players start playing the game, and especially a game now that's been live for over a year, a lot of cases arise that we maybe didn't really anticipate. Like, hey, I still want to search alliances even though I found one. So yeah, they're good ideas. Keep them coming. It's really useful to hear this sort of stuff.
Good. Right, Prime asks, what about Blaster? What about him?
What about Blaster?
He got 20% buff to health a couple weeks ago. I think he's in a pretty good spot right now. Let me know if you disagree. Same goes with.
So what did you do? You gave his health a buff.
Yeah, 20%, which is quite substantial.
Yeah.
Considering he was already not so weak. Let's say in that front.
Were you bullied into that, or?
No, it's just we you know, as always, you know, we look at player sentiment, we look at the data, how often people actually use these bots, and what are the win percentages with these bots, and we try to address the bots that are not as strong or popular as they should be.
I still don't have Blaster.
You still don't have Blaster?
I still don't have Blaster, no.
I'm rocking Soundwave, and he's pretty good. But with these bots, as something that I mentioned last week, with any bots that deploy anything, be it RCs and Nightbirds, decoys, laser turrets, minions and Sharkticons, all that stuff, you need to upgrade their ability as high as you can, because all these deployable creatures and defenses, all of them benefit greatly. They get higher level by upgrading the ability. So you don't even need to have a strong Gnaw to have really strong Sharkticons. You just need to upgrade the ability to a high level. And often with these things as well, you get better performing minions and defenses. The better the star rating of your bot is as well. So a 4-star ability level 4 is laser is stronger than a 3-star, let's say.
I have a question for people. Can we, rearranging bots in a squad?
As in
the squad screen.
As in the order?
Even though if they're on cooldown.
Yeah, so being able to...
we had that question last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, being able to basically, so this is just being able to put a bot on a space despite...
skipping the cooldown.
Yeah, without skipping the cooldown. We would need to modify the flow quite heavily. Yeah. Maybe we could add a button here that would either just skip the zone or just
that.
Yeah, but now I'm unable to. Basically, if I would like to create a new squad,
oh, I see.
But some of my bots are on cooldown, I'd have to wait for them to not be on cooldown or skip the cost.
Okay, yeah, got it.
So the only way out I would see is to maybe add a button here, which we have space to add without skipping or something like that. In which case you'd be able to put a guy on cooldown into the squad and still then look at them and go okay and skip the whole cost. Now that I think of it, it's not undoable.
Or the clear all button.
Which one?
It's that clear all button as well, I suppose, is another way of kind of addressing the same thing.
Yeah, I mean you can remove them easily. It's just assembling a squad if some of them are cooldown.
The squad select screen is an interesting one because there's a lot of functionality that you might want to do on there, and there's a lot of potential ways you might want to use it. And one of the things when we were developing the game with the squad select screen was we actually wanted to show the bots there, all standing together in 3D looking cool. And when you do that, the compromise you make for having that nice experience is you don't have as much space for buttons and UIs if you just made it a big grid where you were dragging things around. So you're always making these trade-offs, I guess, in game development of how good something looks versus how functional it is. And with that one, it's sort of as time's gone by, we've tried to evolve it. We added squads. We're still looking actually at making further tweaks to this screen. But it is a challenging screen to work on. There's often the demands for what the screen should do outweigh often what we can squeeze into the UI.
I've got a question from Gut Custom. What bots would we recommend to put in Outpost? And I would say this vastly differs depending on where you put your Outpost and what your base layout is and what kind of bots you have available for you to choose from. I personally go for a mix of gunners and some heavier, more tanky bots to keep the enemy at bay. So of course you have stuff like Megatron and Optimus because they've got loads of health, but also of course Mixmaster and Jazz for the AoE effect. Strafe and Scourge, these are kind of no-brainers because they stay in the air for a long time and hit your bots for quite a lot of damage. And then we've got some that are not halfer defense, but it's not really that strong, I think, depending on where you put him.
And what about RC? Because I always put her in defense, because one thing I quite like about her, because she's got the hologram ability, if she delays another bot for a prolonged length of time and all your missiles are still activated and hitting that bot, sometimes you can just take out a whole bot just while the bot's distracted battling the hologram. Yeah,
RC also has quite a lot of DPS, so she's I think an underrated choice for the Outposts. I also sometimes put Breakdown because she has a really, Breakneck into it. So Breakneck or Smoke Screen Snipers because their ability deals quite a lot of damage to enemy bots. So if you're going for a single shot, that's doable. And you can always use EMP, Bumblebee, stuff like that if you want to slow them down in a choke point or break down a Mirage for the EMP rockets. You could even try and use the Glass, but I don't think that's a very popular strategy. But definitely go for some of the heavy hitting abilities and some of the tanks like Optimus Prime and Megatron and also Straxus. Ultra Magnus is pretty good and Galvatron as well. But I think this is it's a really difficult question. It's like asking me what is the best squad in the game. I have no idea. I don't think if we've done our job right, there is no one ultimate squad that you should have because it just varies depending on who you fight.
I mean, from a strategy game point of view as well, if we get to a position where there is just one bot that everyone was using in the Outpost, that probably would mean that we'd made them overpowered and we'd have to rebalance the game as well. So, we always want there to be a variety of strategies and it to be down to you guys and customization.
Yeah, we've got some loyal fans. We've got Uncle Scrooge who skipped out a meeting to see us.
Good job.
Excellent.
Good job. I do hope your boss does not see our stream. If he does,
he might
sorry.
be in the stream as well. Down with the system.
Giveaway?
Oh yeah. Did a giveaway
Move along.
We have a giveaway. Yes,
we have a giveaway.
Yeah, we have a
giveaway.
It's actually, it's perfectly planned.
It's a couple of questions.
There's a couple of questions. Why don't you fire it away, Chris?
Why don't we let Dan ask these? Come on.
Alright.
Alright, Dan. Question number 1.
Question number one. Hang on, we need one for each.
Yeah, are we on all? Are you monitoring other platforms to pick a winner? Or do you expect me to do that?
I was expecting.
You expect me to do that
You need to get on all
because
the
today I am
platforms.
Deborah.
Otherwise, it's just not fair.
I can check Twitch.
Deborah's
I can
probably
Twitch.
watching. She's probably
Everyone can
she's,
check.
probably, she's fighting a bear with one hand, and she's like, "Oh, our iPad in the other."
it's Pablo, is it?
What are these guys doing?
Perfect. I'm good. I can see everything.
Okay,
Can see everything.
but say, what would be the question?
Question 1.
What can I win?
You can win a premium crystal.
Sweet. Question 1.
Question 1. Who is Hun-Gurr's mother? Yes, Hun-Gurr has a mother.
Did you make this one up?
No,
Where did you get this from?
it's well sourced information.
Okay, fine.
It's well sourced.
I love that.
Alliance name?
With your answer, please provide us with the alliance name,
And your username.
your username,
Yeah.
and your HQ.
Look at
level.
that.
Yeah, so we can look you up.
Yeah.
Alright, sweet.
Otherwise, no prize.
Yeah.
No one's happy.
I'm monitoring Facebook as well as
I
Twitch.
got one in Facebook.
Yeah.
You got
So
one on Facebook?
the question is like, what is Hun-Gurr's mum called?
Yep.
Yeah.
Who is Hun-Gurr's mother?
Yeah. Well, it must be quite hard work bringing up a child with 2 heads.
Yeah. Must be quite hard giving birth to a child with 2 heads, being a
Definitely,
robot.
yeah. I don't know.
How does it
I
work?
don't know. We'll visit this one next week.
That's next week's question. Be prepared.
Are there multiple spellings of that answer? That's the question.
Yes.
Hun-Gurr.
Yes.
Yes.
Are we gonna accept any spelling?
Yes.
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 No.
It's only
One
just
of the
yes.
two. Yeah.
All right.
I've already.
So
Yes,
I already
no.
planned for it.
I'm gonna scroll my screen and we're gonna pick a winner on Twitch. You got a winner on Facebook? Is there more people?
I got one on YouTube as well.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Now, so Pablo handled that.
Do you want me to
With
use my-
Twitch, we're gonna use the
my finger?
magic finger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
Stop your finger.
There.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a good answer?
No, above.
This one.
No, above.
This one.
Skag.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Congratulations to Skaggu. The correct answer is indeed Hun-Gurrr.
Marker.
So-
With a U or without a U?
So yes,
Because if you googled it, it will come up without a U, but the title will have a U.
the magic finger of Chris picked you.
Yeah.
So congrats to Cyrus
Congrats,
Skag.
yeah. I think Dan was writing those jokes you find in Christmas crackers before, before joining us. Is that true?
No.
All right.
It's a good question.
It's great. It's a great question.
It's a thematic question.
I didn't come up with anything better.
We're gonna do one more.
Yes. I've got
All
one
right.
more question.
Let's do one more. Ooh. Oh my. This is this a hardly Googleable?
This
Google question.
It could be, and it couldn't be.
All right.
This is my level 9 question.
Level 9. How many levels are there?
12.
12. Our HQs go to 15.
Tell us more, Dan.
Okay, so the executioners are a breed of quintesson, also known as gatekeepers. But who did they drop into the Sharkticon pit when they first made their appearance?
Name the character that they dropped.
Name the character that they pushed into the pit or dropped into the pit.
And of course, with your
We're
answer,
talking
please.
G1 movie here.
No.
Ooh, stakes have raised.
Mm.
Interesting. No, I'm gonna. And of course, yes, please include your HQ, alliance name, and username. And please allow for up to 24 hours. It's probably gonna be like 30 minutes, but please allow for 24 hours.
We're
to get
literally
your
going to
reward.
post you the crystal.
We'll bring it round.
Yeah.
We'll hatch it for you and everything.
That'd be
3D
cool
print
if
it.
you could actually. if
Yeah.
you-
It would be good to 3D print everything that was
Yeah.
in the game.
The only problem is like you need to collect it because posting, doing anything, we are a worldwide business with players in every single country, right?
Should we find a winner?
Yes.
Let's go.
I just wanted to give them some time.
We have one on Twitch.
Twitch.
Alright, so you point the finger and the closest physically answer. There we go. Let's see. What's the closest valid answer?
Another one there.
This one?
Oh, yeah.
Alright, congratulations to
Alonso
81. And the answer to that question is not going to be spoiled just yet.
Almost.
You should see
However,
what's going on behind the camera. Pablo's like waving his hands, like no.
he is more animated than Sharkticans themselves. Yeah, congratulations to Alonso 81 from Crowdbuster, or maybe that's his now. It's from SG Decepticons.
Okay, good. Well done for getting that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, good
Good.
Transformers knowledge.
Yeah, good Google skills. One of the two.
Both are equally valid strategies in the modern world.
Yes.
Yes, I think like it's quite far in life you can get by just knowing how to Google well.
Absolutely. I can speak lots of languages now.
You cannot, can you?
Yeah.
Yeah. See. All right. What else do we have? The winners on other channels? No.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
You broke them with level 9 questions.
This is a difficult question. I didn't know the answer.
Well, I'm bringing out level 11 next week, so...
Yeah. Although sometimes it's difficult. I mean, like, there's a lot of Transformers stuff, you know. There's so many comics.
Yeah.
And some of them I last probably read.
I try and
25
pick
years
one
ago
that's
now.
not too wide,
Yeah,
some rare
YouTube.
machinima storyline.
Well, that's new, so
That thing that might have happened.
Yeah. Okay.
And happy birthday to Sergeant Angerfist.
Oh yeah, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. It was Swan Troop's birthday.
No,
today.
Crystal!
With the electricity power.
Oh,
Give me the electricity.
Pablo's running out of juice.
Yeah.
1 minute, I've just called up 4.
All right.
Swan Troop's birthday today, wasn't it?
Will there be more roles in the Alliance? A question from a lengthy number person.
He asked for a present, but got told no.
Will there be more roles in the Alliances?
You mean beyond like the
Beyond the officer,
yeah.
the
And
soldier, and the commander?
No, I mean one thing we actually did with Transformers, like our other game, Rival Kingdoms, had tons and tons of roles, and it was quite confusing about what they were all for, and new players coming into the game. It was a little bit alienating for them. So for Transformers, we actually went in the opposite direction and had a smaller number of roles just to make alliance structure clearer. It's difficult with these things because once you've been playing the game for a long time, actually like you understand everything that's there inside out, and actually you kind of want more complexity. But we also have to be mindful of new players that come in and not overwhelming them with stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember us just trying to make things an easier
Clearer and
and
simpler.
clearer
Yeah.
place. Because there would be so much drama around all these different roles and what do they do, and am I a raider, am I a defender? Yeah, it's streamlined, and I think rather than add more alliances, it's better to just add more stuff you could do with your alliance, maybe.
Yeah. I think if we put energy into stuff like in the future, it's going to be more like interesting ways to play the game as opposed to like just alliance roles.
Yes. And to answer some of the questions that were already kind of bleeding from Ask the Matrix is rather than doing any kind of resource trading between alliance members, we would probably one day maybe like to do the bot kind of donations. So
that would be a nice
I think it would be pretty cool to play with.
Be a nice way of trying out a bot you don't own.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of which, like I think there might be some new opportunities to try some of the new bots in the future.
Yeah,
right?
You never know.
Yeah.
Actually, we do know. Yeah, there probably will be.
So we have the technology now. We have the technology, but the trials are not complete.
Yes. So something we've been building as part of Power Calls. There's lots of interesting things that kind of flow out of Power Calls.
So possibly one day, fingers crossed, when we release a new bot, we also release a level that you'll be able to play and try that bot before the event even starts or during the event.
Yeah, so you can understand like how the bot works, why they're useful.
Yeah, and why Straxus's ability can be really amazing. And just surround something with a honeycomb of walls and then go boom. It's pretty
Anyone else won?
Anyone else won on other platforms?
No.
You,
Oh,
bro.
YouTube, yes.
YouTube, yes. Well done, YouTube. You're better than Facebook, apparently.
Yes, much
They're all coming over to Twitch.
Yeah. Twitch is usually a place where you can deduce the answer based on other people's choices. And whenever we do this kind of random award, you can get a chance to win. Sometimes we do the first come, first served, in which case, tough luck.
Should we read out the question again?
For the Facebook folks?
Yeah.
Sure. The question was, the executioners are a breed of quintesson, also known as gatekeepers. Who did they drop into the Sharkticon pit, like first time ever, whenever they made their first appearance? Who did they drop into the Sharkticon pit? And as a hint, we're actually not talking about the G1 movie here. We're talking about earlier than that.
Episode 1.
Episode 1.
5. Yeah, not the Phantom Menace. It's like episode 1, 5 Faces of Darkness.
5 Faces of Darkness.
5 Faces. Okay.
So you can watch the episode.
Right, and of course Twitch has already cracked that question
Yeah.
a long time ago, and YouTube did that recently. So it's your time to catch up, Facebook. And we have 3 minutes left. Let's see if there's any other questions, juicy questions that we have left.
Someone asked about using combiners in defence again.
Yeah, so combiners in defence. Certainly, yeah, that is something we've discussed originally. Like when we first, we were first planning out the combiner feature. That was one of the things that we wanted to do. You know, like a lot of game development, when you start, you've got a list of 100 things you really want to do, and unfortunately, you always only manage to get 40 or 50 of them done, and that was one of the things that got cut. But certainly, it was something that was on our radar, and maybe something that could make battles more interesting in the future as well. As we add more combiners to the game as well, you know, maybe it could become a more compelling thing to do. 'Cause maybe some combiners have special strengths on defence that the ones on attack don't have. But yeah, you know, it's all of these things are certainly like. There's a lot of questions we get asked where I feel bad because I always feel like we're saying no, but a lot of these things are like cool ideas and like they're things we would like to do. You know.
If you look at our roadmap, though, there's just so much cool stuff anyway that kind of makes it. So it makes me feel a bit better about the things we cannot make because we do have really good things coming.
Yeah.
So it's not as if it's a missed opportunity. It's just a question of which one is better to serve first. And I think things like new combiners that we kind of mentioned and power cores, from my point of view, definitely are absolutely crucial.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, like with anything we do in the game, we're always looking for like a feature that or something that we can add that's going to still be fun in 6 months' time. So it's quite easy for us to think of things that will be really cool that maybe you'll have fun with for a week, but we want to make sure that like anything we do in the game is going to persist and be something that we can build on.
Which is also why we don't add campaigns on their own, but we try to pair them with big game features like combiners and power cores, because we want the campaign to be there as a nice juicy piece of content that you have when you join when that thing releases, but it's not necessarily something that if we kept doing every month would be engaging for you guys. There's only so many interesting levels and puzzles that you can assemble. Okay, we're almost done. We've got one final question from Hodahori. He likes the dupe rewards for combiner bolts and Gnaw, having the combiner Spark and Sharkticon. Can we get similar themed and interesting rewards for other dupe bots?
So yeah, have you talked about any of this sort of stuff?
Mm-mm.
I guess we're aware, we always want to make the experience of opening a crystal in Transformers Earth Wars as good as possible. And when you start the game and you're getting loads of new bots, that's awesome. But as you get further into the game, obviously you've got more of the bots, so you're getting more dupes. So yeah, at the moment we're looking at ways of improving that. We have a solution that's sort of linked to power cores, so you'll find out more as we start talking about the power core feature. But yeah, it's definitely on our radar. It's something we want to improve. We want you to always be excited when you open a crystal, even if you do get a dupe of something.
Cool. And that is it.
Good time.
Perfect
Awesome.
on time.
Yeah, thanks very much for joining the stream and asking so many questions. It's been really great.
Thanks a lot, and see you next week, same time, same place.
Take care, guys.
See you later,
Thank you.
guys.
Bye.
Welcome back to Story Mode. Let's recap what's happened in the Quintesson saga so far. So Snarl and Hun-Gurrr have found themselves stranded on Quintessa, and they banded together to try to defeat a chomping horde of Sharkticons. And Snarl saves the day by releasing an electrostatic blast. But then, the lines of communication are restored, and Hun-Gurrr gets new orders from his Decepticon masters. Destroy Snarl. Will he follow orders? Click on the link below and head to the Quintesson saga in-game. We'll see you next week.